It's not your hormones, it's not your genetics, it's not because you've been dieting for too long, it's not because your cortisol is too high, it's not because you're in starvation mode. I love that one. Now, I'm not saying that some of those things don't exist. What I'm saying is that they're being used as a get out clause. Reasons to avoid the real problem, which is that somewhere in your week, probably in multiple places, you're letting things slip the net. Because your body doesn't lie, and if you're not losing fat, then there's a reason why. By the end of this video, you're going to be armed with the tools to understand why you're not where you want to be with your physique and what to do next. So make sure you stick about to the end of the video. So first off, we're going to debunk some of the top myths and some of my favorite myths when it comes to why people can't lose fat. And these are all reasons that people have explained to me and told me on consultation calls as to why they can't get in the shape they want to get in. We'll be discussing energy balance, and I'm going to be arming you with the tools to be able to come away from this video and actually apply some of this so you've got something to do and something to take action from at the end. Why intelligent people still fall into the trap of self-deception when it comes to food, and the blind spot when it comes to food: stress eating, emotional eating, boredom, weekends, and the things that really hold people back. And then, of course, the fix, how you can get to the bottom of this, accurately tracking things and being consistent with things and having the patience to go forward, but more importantly, armed with the tools to actually do it. So let's get stuck in. Now, one of my favorite ones I hear from people is that it's my hormones. I can't lose fat because of my hormones. And while your hormones do play a part in fat loss, we've got insulin, insulin sensitivity, leptin and ghrelin that are responsible for hunger and satiety. They're still not going to get in the way of the nitty gritty that it comes to data. They're not going to override the law of thermodynamics in most cases. So we can sack that one off. Number two, my metabolism is slow. Is it, or are you just slow? Are you just moving far too little, not doing enough in the gym, not moving enough outside of the gym, and probably not eating enough, and so therefore slowing down your own metabolism? Probably. Number three, I've been dieting for too long. Now, this one does have some weight. If you've been dieting for a long period of time, then of course we are going to have some metabolic adaptation, and you are going to adapt to being on lower calories and weighing less, and that calorie number is going to have to come down. But that doesn't mean that you can't keep coming down. I've had to diet people much lower than they realize, and much lower than they would be comfortable going on their own. A lot of people's calories have to be lower than they realize for longer periods. So we can disregard that one in most instances. Number four, and probably my favorite one, is I'm eating healthy. Cool story, bro. What does that mean? How can you use something subjective to define what you're doing? I'm eating healthy. What if you're eating healthy but you're eating too many calories? What if you're eating, like, what even is healthy? How are you defining healthy? You're just eating foods that it's not junk food, doesn't necessarily make it healthy, and it's not going to move the needle. It's just not accurate enough. And number five, of course, I don't have time. It's one of my favorites. I hear people all the time tell me they don't have time. I don't have time. I would challenge anyone who says they don't have time to seriously audit their week. Check your screen time, check yourself when it comes to wasted time you spent just watching Netflix, faffing about, having lie-ins in the morning, hitting the snooze button. As a busy business owner with 2 members of staff, over 150 clients within the business, 2 young kids, a wife, a busy household, I'm busy. I work with a lot of busy people, business owners, professionals, people that have serious jobs and travel all the time, who have young families and commitments. Now let's get stuck into the nitty gritty of how you can fix this, because most people, when they inquire with me, they have very little idea when it comes to the actual data, how many steps they're doing on a daily basis, what their weight is actually doing on a daily basis. These are all things that I would, before you even get stuck into starting your fat loss phase, you just spend a week or two just establishing all of this. Start to create a little bit of a log. How many steps are you doing on a daily basis? How many calories are you consuming on a daily basis? How much protein are you consuming on a daily basis? And the easiest way to do this is with an app like MyFitnessPal or similar, where you can track this over the course of a week, and don't set yourself any real targets from the start. Just gather data. I do this with my one-to-one clients now. We have what's called an assessment week, where we just see what's going on. How much are you moving? How much are you eating? Make sure you track your body weight daily. First thing in the morning, fasted, before you drink water, after you go to the toilet. Track this consistently over a 7 to 14 day period and see how that number trends. If it's pretty much the same, then you know you're sitting at maintenance. If it's creeping up, then you know you might be in a slight calorie surplus. If it's creeping down, then you're going to be in a little bit of a deficit. And this is where we're able to apply some principles and start to move the needle. And by the way, when it comes to MyFitnessPal, make sure you track everything. That means drinks, that means oils, that means butters, that means the weekends, that means things that are outside of your control. Put the effort into tracking these things and tracking these things honestly. Something I like to do alongside assessment week is also use a formula to figure out where your calories need to be. Now, there's a few ones where you can times your body weight by a certain number. I find the best one for the majority of people is a formula called Harris-Benedict. You can literally just Google this Harris-Benedict formula. Punch in your details, your age, your height, your weight, and it's going to give you a calorie number that's going to be your basic maintenance calorie number. I've actually stuck a link for one in the description of this video now, so you can literally just click on there after this video and do it yourself. Make sure for the movement you don't overestimate this. Most people go, oh, I do lots of steps and I play five-a-side football and I go to the gym, so I'm going to put myself down as very active. Very active is going to be 30,000 steps a day, working on a building site, grafting all day long, training 6 days a week. If anything, I would play that one down a little bit and go for the setting under you think you're on. Now you're going to be able to marry up these two numbers, plain and simple. So you're going to have this target number that's going to be your maintenance number, and you're going to be able to look back at what you've actually tracked over the last couple of weeks and see where the discrepancy between these two numbers is. Now, when it comes to creating a deficit, understand that the more aggressive you go with the deficit, then the more fat you're going to lose over time. However, it's going to come at a cost. So the more negatives you're probably going to see. The hungrier you're going to be, the more agitated you might get. Things are going to be a little bit more difficult. You might be lower on energy. Training's going to be a little bit shit, and there's going to be a few extra sides that come along. So I would personally start with a smaller deficit and then increase from there rather than the other way around. Normally, the way I'll set this with clients is I'll just come 400 to 500 calories under the predicted maintenance number, so we can then start to see what happens from here. Make sure once you do this, you're tracking things accurately and consistently. You're weighing yourself first thing in the morning, fasted, jumping on those scales, tracking your food accurately, and being patient 7 to 14 days at a time to see how that weight trends. Something I also like to do here is take your previous step number, so whatever the movement you were doing when you were just in your assessment week here, and where you've taken away some calories from your daily calories here, is also add a little bit of movement. And once again, as I come 400 or 500 calories down from that. Now, we don't want to do anything too extreme with that. We want to just be coming up to something that's going to be nice and achievable. For most people, 1,000 steps is going to take about 10 minutes. So what you don't want to be doing is giving yourself an extra 2 hours of walking a day, especially if you're new to this. What you want to do is give yourself a nice little deficit and a nice little bump up from your steps. So the way I like to do this is just increase it by a reasonable number. If you find you're doing 7,000 or 8,000 steps a day, see if you can bump this up to 10. If you're already doing 10,000 steps a day, see if you can bump this up to 12 or 13. So we can now consistently have those calories 400 to 500 calories below maintenance and the steps 2,000 to 3,000 more than you were doing before. And once again, we want to give this 7 to 14 days to really make sure that you can track that data and make sure things are moving. Now, a rate of fat loss I like to go for most people is 1% of your body weight a week. That sounds slow. And this is where a lot of people get impatient and they want to crank up that deficit and go more aggressive. And what normally happens, they crash and burn. So you need to be patient at this stage now and start to just settle into a rate of fat loss over the course of a few weeks, so you're then able to start to predict the future. If you're dropping 0.5 kilo a week and you want to drop 10 kilos, you have to be able to sit here at this point and go, are you happy with this rate of fat loss? Do you think you could tolerate a slightly more aggressive deficit? If you think you can, you need to be able to test this and make sure you actually can on a day-to-day. Because I've gone super aggressive with my deficit before. I've had clients where we've gone a little bit too aggressive on the deficit before, and the weight comes off, but it comes at a price. It gets miserable. And you want to make sure, especially if you're new to this now, that you're just consistent over longer periods of time. Now, something I've done for you is I've put a link in the description to this video that gives you a 4-week tracker, which means you can literally do all of this for free. Click the link, download it, and you're going to be able to enter your details, track your calories over the course of 4 weeks, track your weight over the course of 4 weeks, and really see what happens. And of course, once you get to the end of that 4 weeks, you can start the whole process again and keep going. This is literally everything you now need to get things on the go. So click that link in the description, download my 4-week tracker, click the link to the calorie calculator. It's all there in the description for you now. And if you apply the basic principles that I've talked about in this video now, in 4 weeks from now, you'll be in a better place. So click that link, drop this video a like, make sure if you haven't already, you subscribe to this and drop any comments below. I'll catch you on the next one.